This happened in a place where nothing like this should ever happen. A school. Bright lights. Open hallways. Students everywhere. And yet, in the middle of a normal day, a 17-year-old boy vanished, without a single clear sign. Hours later, he would be found in a way so disturbing that people are still trying to understand it, years later. His name was Kendrick Johnson. And what happened to him still doesn't feel real. January 2013. Lowndes High School in Georgia. The day started like any other. Students laughing in the hallways. Backpacks hitting lockers. Teachers calling out attendance. Kendrick walked into school just like everyone else. No one knew it would be the last time they'd see him alive. There was no warning. No sign that anything was about to go wrong. At some point during the day, Kendrick disappeared. Not dramatically. Not suddenly. Just, quietly. He stopped showing up to class. And at first, no one reacted. Because in a busy school, students miss periods all the time. It didn't seem serious. But as time passed, something felt off. Teachers marked him absent. Friends started wondering where he was. But still, no one imagined what had actually happened. Then came the moment that changed everything. Inside the school gym, there were large wrestling mats. Tall. Heavy. Rolled tightly, and stored upright. Students had a habit. They would place their shoes inside the mats, using them like hidden storage. It wasn't unusual. It wasn't dangerous. At least, that's what everyone thought. Until someone looked inside one of those mats. And saw something they would never forget. Kendrick's body. Upside down. Trapped inside. Only his legs, visible from the top. His head, deep inside the mat. The space was tight. Narrow. Almost impossible to move in. It didn't look like something a person could just fall into. It looked wrong. Unnatural. Disturbing. But according to the official explanation, that's exactly what happened. The theory was simple. Kendrick had gone to get his shoes. They were inside the mat. He reached down, lost his balance, and fell in headfirst. Once inside, his body became stuck. His arms pinned. His chest compressed. He couldn't push himself out. He couldn't turn around. He couldn't call for help loud enough to be heard. And slowly, he ran out of air. Authorities called it positional asphyxia. A tragic accident. No foul play. Case closed. But for many people, that explanation raised more questions than answers. Because when you picture it, it doesn't feel right. This wasn't a hidden corner. This was a school gym. People walked in and out. Students were nearby. Games. Activities. Movement. How could someone be trapped like that? For hours, without anyone noticing. No loud noise. No struggle being heard. No one seeing anything unusual. Nothing. Then there was the position of the body itself. Experts and observers questioned whether it was even physically possible to fall into such a narrow space, and not escape. Wouldn't there be signs of struggle? Wouldn't there be movement? Wouldn't someone hear something? And then, came another detail. Security cameras. The school had cameras in the gym area. But the footage didn't clearly show what happened. There were gaps. Moments missing. Time that wasn't fully accounted for. And naturally, people began asking why. Why would there be missing or unclear footage? On the very day something like this happened. Then came the autopsy. The official report said there were no major injuries. No signs of a violent struggle. Cause of death, lack of oxygen. But a second, independent examination told a different story. It suggested there may have been injuries. That didn't fully match a simple accident. And that's when everything shifted. Kendrick's family stepped forward. And they were clear. They People began analyzing every detail. Photos. Reports. Timelines. Every small detail became important. Theories started forming. Some believed Kendrick had an altercation with other students. Others believed there was a larger cover-up. Some thought the truth was hidden. Others thought it was simply misunderstood. But no matter what people believed, one thing was certain. Doubt had taken over. Investigations were reopened. Evidence was reviewed again. Experts looked deeper. Questions were asked. Again and again. But every time, the official conclusion stayed the same. Accidental death. And every time, people felt less convinced. Because the questions didn't go away. They grew stronger. How does someone fall into a mat like that? Without leaving clear signs of struggle? How does it happen in a crowded school? Without anyone hearing anything? Why did reports seem to differ? Why did parts of the timeline feel incomplete? And most importantly, why does the explanation feel so hard to accept? Years have passed. But this case hasn't faded. It still gets attention. Still gets discussed. Still gets questioned. Because something about it doesn't sit right. Maybe it's the scene itself. A body, hidden in plain sight. In a place where people walked by, unaware of what was just feet away. Maybe it's the unanswered questions. Or maybe it's the feeling that the full truth was never fully uncovered. Cases like this stay with people. Not because they're solved, but because they feel unfinished. Because they leave space for doubt. And doubt is powerful. It keeps stories alive. It keeps people searching. It keeps questions from fading away. And Kendrick Johnson's case is one of those stories. A story that started in an ordinary place, on an ordinary day, but ended in a way that no one could have imagined. So what really happened inside that gym? Was it truly a tragic accident? Or was there something more, hidden beneath tea?